So this is chapter 4 of MYP4 unit 2, and in the last chapter we just defined what a function was, a rule for generating one number from another, and you can represent a function with a flowchart, and that just breaks it down into steps. So for example, if the function was 3x plus 2, which was the one we saw in the last chapter, you could break that down with a flowchart that starts with x and then does things to it step by step to work out what the value of the function is. So you'd start with x and you'd multiply it by 3, so you've got a box there in this flowchart that says times 3, and then after the other side of that box you've got 3x because you've multiplied it by 3. Then I've got another box that has the rule add 2, so out of that box comes 3x plus 2. So it's like a little sort of machine that puts numbers through processes and breaks down a function into smaller processes, so it makes it easier to work out what it is. So for example, if x was 7, 7 would go into the times 3 box to give you 21, and then 21 would go into the add 2 box to give you 23. So if x was 7, then 3x plus 2 would be 23. So what rule would get us from 23 back to 7? So think about going backwards through the flowchart and doing the opposite thing. So instead of going times 3 add 2, I'm going to go the other way and try and do the reverse thing. So I'm starting at this end. The opposite of add 2 would be take away 2, minus 2. And then the opposite of times 3 would be divide by 3. So if I put x in the other end on the right of my reverse machine, I do times 2 and I get, I do minus 2 and I get x minus 2. And then I divide that by 3 and I get x minus 2 over 3. So if the original rule is 3x plus 2, then the rule that would work backwards is x minus 2 over 3. That would get us from the 23 back to the 7 we started with. And we can check that works because 23 minus 2 is 21, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So that's a rule that gets us from the 23 back to the 7. So it's a reverse rule. It's a rule that does the opposite of 3x plus 2, and in fact we call that an inverse function. Okay, so here I've just said that again. X minus 2 over 3 gets us back from 23 to 7. If x is 23, then x minus 2 over 3 works out to be 7.